Welcome back to my channel. My name's Meredith. If you're new around here, I really adore historical costuming and living history. You'll find some other cool videos around my channel if you haven't subscribed already. And today I'm going to take you on a quick tour through my historical hair box. This is what I take to events. It's the product of many years of accumulating different tools for hairdressing in different time periods. So before I start kicking off a whole bunch of historical hairdressing videos that have been requested, I'm going to actually kind of walk you through the tools that I have in one large lump. Please, by all means, don't feel like you need to purchase all of these materials to do historical hair. Different eras will have different things that they need. This is just a really awesome centrally located box. I also will have multiples of some tools because I will often take this out with me to in-person living history events and teach about historical hairdressing. And this way I have a implement I can pass around to students while I'm using another one to actually teach the hairstyle. So grab your cuppa. I am drinking lemon oolong this week and I hope you stick around. Let's look at some tools, right? Hey, okay, so this is my hair box. I honestly cannot tell you the vendor that made this amazing piece of artwork. It did come to me unsealed, and I sealed it, stained it, added the bits of hardware so I could lock it up. That's probably why this latch kind of wiggles. I'm not super good at woodworking. McNerdy Costumes will probably giggle at me and tell me how to fix that at some point, I'm sure. But we've got some cute handles, and this lets me carry it around at events a little more easily. That way I can keep doing my classes and teaching. One of the coolest features about this particular box is going to be that mirror that is on a hinge inside the lid. I don't know that this is actually a historical design for the time periods I typically do in the Renaissance. I haven't seen anything quite like this, but it is really handy when it comes to me going out camping or trying to teach people at events and keeping things compact rather than packing out an entire household. So I have a removable tray, and that's where most of my tools are going to hang out. In here I've got that Boar bristle brush that I discussed in my medieval hair care video. I'll go ahead and put a link to that in the description for you. I also have a couple of double-sided combs. This way I can choose if I need a super deep clean or just more of a gentle one. And this usually sits in my, I'm going to call it my event purse, my little side bag that I walk around with in case I need to tidy up. But as I haven't done events for a while, I washed that bag and the comb came back in here for now. Some other helpful things. I've got a hair fork, which is really awesome for buns. They do take a little bit of practice and getting used to, but the two prongs are actually a lot easier than a single stick. And I find it holds my hair pretty securely. I actually wear this quite a bit just in my day-to-day life. I have my lock for securing my box when I'm not walking around. Let's see. So this was an idea that I got after watching some videos from Janet Stevens. I'll go ahead and link her stuff down below. She inspired me to look into Roman hairdressing and start digging into Pompeii and some of those other really amazing archaeological finds. In some of her work, she's been using double-sided knitting needles like these as hair bodkins to help section out your hair when you're working on it without needing to use modern banana clips. So I love these. Looks like these are 3.25 millimeter if you're looking for something similar. Mine are wood, and they're kind of shiny and well worn from like a decade of use. Along those same lines, I also have my bone bodkins. These I picked up at I want to say it was a beading store when I lived out in Phoenix. Some of them have bigger eyes than others. I personally prefer it to be slender with a large eye rather than thick with a narrow one. You can also get them shorter. This is one that one of my dogs ran off with, and so it got chipped on the end. Kind of has some abuse on it, but it actually still works pretty well. Aside from bone bodkins, I also have this reproduction Roman bodkin. I'll link the seller for that down in the description as well. I'm gonna just throw out there, none of this stuff is sponsored or affiliate links or anything. This is just the stuff I use, and I want independent artists to get their dues. But it's pretty blunt on the end no matter how sharp it looks, and it being so narrow, it's really easy for me to file this through some of the more complex Roman braids that you find. And lastly, because I was asked, I have a nail binding needle, and it does work pretty well for hair taping, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of wide, so if you've got really fine hair, it might move your braids around too much and make them a lot looser. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's my experience, but I keep it in here because I have students ask about it all the time. And one more. This one's just kind of cute. I've used it to stick in buns so that they stay in place a few times. It's always good to have a pair of scissors. These are some historically inspired embroidery snips. I've seen similar things at lawn and garden centers for bonsai if you're not anywhere where you can get to a historical market this time of year. And I just have a little bit of string so that I know that they're mine and they come back to me. Not necessarily hair related, but kind of, I guess. This is a toiletry set that was made by an artisan here in the Mountain West. I'll put the link to their description in the box as well. We've got an ear spoon. I've got some stuff to try and get grime out from under my nails, and a couple other things. I would have to look up what they were because I usually just use it to clean out under my nails when I'm camping. The most recent hair ribbon, of course, always sits on the top, as well as a little linen tie for tying off a braid when I'm sleeping. Little thing of solid perfume, because who doesn't want to smell nice when they're walking around at events? Some non-solid perfume because I apparently haven't cleaned this out in a while. Let's get this out of here. This is a circlet for the SCA. It goes with an award that I got, and one of my dear friends made this for me and gave it to me shortly after when I moved here. Let's see what else is in the top. We have a little box of jeweled bobby pins, some tapestry needles, other small assorted bodkins, little cloth to try and polish up some needles and pins if I need to. This cute little box has some of these tiny cornrow braid holders. When I'm teaching, not everybody wants to have their hair sewn in, so sometimes it's handy to have these on hand. They can just slide them out of their hair after class. We have some 18th century U-shaped pins. I have seen some evidence to say something like this could have been used in the 16th century. So I keep them in here, but these were inspired by 18th century examples. And if you follow Morgan Donner out here on the YouTubes, before she moved in her Etsy store, she had a whole bunch of these Roman era bodkins to do different styles, and she's got a video for those. So I bought a set because I enjoy doing Roman hair sometimes, and I had just 2 of them and it didn't work. The styles weren't working as well, so I went back and I bought some more at a later date. Oh, and cosmetics brush for the lip stain and rouge that we have down in the bottom. So let's go ahead and remove that tray. Give you guys a peek in here. So I don't do any hardcore reenactments that would have an issue with me having little baggies with zippers, just as an FYI. I primarily do history through the SCA or a couple other living history groups like that. So they're not going to care what's in my box. I wouldn't show these as a historical display though. Another hair ribbon. So we have a thing of hair oil. I'll link this down in the description. I did not make this one, but it smells amazing and it does kind of help keep my hair together and from getting all frizzy. That lip rouge I was telling you about. I have a jar of my dry shampoo from the Tortula. I'll go ahead and link that in the description below if you would like to go and take a look around at that on how to make some. I have tied off cut pieces of ribbon for some of the different 16th century hairstyles. It's not everything was just one long ribbon. Sometimes you need shorter sections. Got a small mirror. Hello YouTube, can you see me behind the camera? Again, sometimes when I'm teaching, people don't have a hair ribbon or something I can use, so I have a I have a ball of string that I can just cut off sections and use that way. In addition to that thing of string, I also have a little pouch that has some upholstery thread for doing really fine sewn hairstyles. You could do this in colors to match your hair, but without having a designated person that can find the string, sometimes it's easier for us modernly to have it in a contrasting color. That way we can find it and get it out. Another thing of string and a little thing of linen tape for doing bound hairstyles. Let's see. Got some modern bobby pins with pearls on them for decorating braids and such instead of doing sewn in pearls. That's a thing. I've got my Retta, which is a hairnet. You can see a video on how to make one of these sparkly beauties in the description as well. A little cup for water. Sometimes you just need some water when you're styling your hair. This would be a needle book full of veil pins and dressing pins and some sewing needles for doing sewn hairstyles. Just sort of handy pokey things that I don't want stabbing me on the regular. I love these glass-headed pins that I have artist friends that make in the SCA. Got some dressing pins, some other decorative ones. But this is how I keep them safe and transport them when they're not in my hair. If you want a video on making one of these little needle books, let me know. I will add it to the list if there's enough interest. All right. Oh, and this is the matching pin cushion. It's filled with some steel wool. When I'm at a longer term event or trying to do a demonstration, I will stick the pins in here. It helps keep them sharp and kind of cleans them up a bit and looks a little bit classier than having a random book out, I think. And then we've got our pouches. So pouch 1 is laces for tying up dresses and such. I sometimes will do some hair binding with them, but not as frequently as I would with other things. I've got a ball of yarn for doing Roman hair. So in the pink velvet, we've got hairdressing accessories, some jewelry, little paper flowers from a millinery shop, things that I would use for styling my 16th century hair. I might honestly use it for some of the later styles as well. And this one has all of my silk ribbon, my linen tapes, in just about every color you can imagine, because I like to coordinate this with all of my outfits, and I will probably never get it back in that bag. But it was way easier to put these in a pouch so that they didn't take over the whole box. I personally like silk because it doesn't tangle the hair. It's actually real silk ribbon, even if it's satin weave. It tends to have a bit more grip than the polyester, as well as having that silky texture that doesn't snag on your hair. That's really what it boils down to. So let's get these out. The last things in here, some fairly modern little handheld mirrors for students when they're in class. Hello again, Facebook. Facebook. Well, probably Facebook too. Hello, YouTube. Mwah. But I've got these for when we teach classes. All right, so there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed watching my awesome little hair box tour here. If you want more content like this, please do feel free to subscribe. I try to post every week. Sometimes it turns into every other week. And we have a lot of fun here doing some fun history and costuming shenanigans. So in the meantime, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right, let's do this.